situation. So it's preparing to live stream now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start because it's saying that we're now streaming live, even though I can't see it on the YouTube side. So for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, welcome. You are now viewing the show, Three Things You Need to Know, and I'm your host, Pam Jacobson. And as you can see, I have a special guest with me today, Dr. Grace Soltinsky. Grace is a dear friend of mine. We've been friends for a number of years, and we've also been business partners for the last decade in a company called the Healing Sanctuary, where both of us have, worked in various areas of healthcare, and at the Healing Sanctuary provided various levels of care. Dr. Grace has a really varied healthcare background, and I'm going to let her, give you all of that information. But I wanted to talk. So last week we kind of kicked off our detox or rejuvenation reset for 2021. And, what we're going to do going forward is a series again. So we're going to start, this is really week 1 of our detoxification series. And I'm interviewing Dr. Grace because she and what you don't know about Dr. Grace is that she and her husband, Mark Soltinsky, own a water store in Dana Point. And we're going to go into lots of detail about that. But the title of today's show is Detox, Where Do You Start? Well, where you start is with water. Water is all about, it's one of the main aspects of life and living and health and wellness. And it's certainly the first place to start when it comes to detoxifying your body. So what we're going to do today is Dr. Grace is going to introduce herself, and we're going to go through the next 15, 20 minutes talking about water and why it's important and give you all of those amazing details. So without further ado, I am going to turn it over to Dr. Grace. Welcome, Dr. Grace. We're so excited that you're here. Yeah, just tell us a little bit about your background. I think it's really interesting for people to know the multiple areas of healthcare that you touch, and also to talk a little bit about Mark and his background and why between the two of you, you guys have the expertise to be talking to us today about water.
Thank you, Pam, my dearest friend, and Happy New Year to everyone. We're at the beginning of it. It's going to be a fantastic year. And for those of you who have not heard me yet speak, I'm originally from Poland, have been here for many decades, so I have this accent. But I have been practicing functional medicine for over a decade. And my background is I'm a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. I'm also a licensed psychotherapist, and I've worked at a hospital, large hospital in Long Beach for many, many years, providing psychotherapy, counseling for many, many patients, working in the emergency room for a long time, and also working with cancer patients, and then embraced Chinese medicine, and then became a functional medicine practitioner, working with Pam, and specializing in internal medicine, always having an element of emotional wellness, working with patients through this.
Yeah, truly kind of the whole mind, body, spirit package when you think about it, right? Psychology, Chinese medicine, functional medicine. I mean, there's kind of really not a realm that you haven't covered, which I've always really appreciated. And what you don't know about Dr. Grace is to be a doctor of Oriental medicine or a doctor of Chinese medicine was an additional level of training over and above our really intensive 4-year master's degree program. She then returned and did another couple of years to get her doctorate. Plus, she has her psychology license and degree on top of that. So this is a woman who's spent a great number of years in her training to become the expert that she is today. So I really appreciate it.
That's right, Pam. Thank you. And for those of you who don't know me, I also am very, very passionate about longevity. And so I strongly believe that to live a long and healthy life, we need a lot of different elements. We need our emotional health, right? We need the health of our internal organs, but also we need some basic and profound elements like water. And lucky for me and lucky for Pam, we have my husband, Mark Soltinsky, who is this water specialist. He's a hydrologist and civil engineer by his background. He has always been interested in the science of water and has perfected, for many years, several filtration systems, including shower filters and under the counter filters and whole house filters. And several years ago, he has purchased a beautiful store in Dana Point called Eco Waterhouse, where people can come in and they actually could bring their own bottles, or they can get bottles from us and get beautiful, healthy water. We will talk in a second about what does that mean, beautiful, healthy water. For right now, I want to return to the basics of why do we need to stay hydrated while we are starting our detox. You already have gone there to the store, purchased some organic foods. You've gotten your detox capsules from various companies. Pam and I are starting a detox. We started with you as well. So it's very, very important to also drink water. You may want to say, well, why is that important? Imagine you are starting your detox and you are moving some of the fat cells or the fat from the fat cells. You're moving some of the toxins from your internal organs and also from your tissues, from your bones, from your muscles, and they're coming to the bloodstream. But then there's not enough hydration. What is happening? They're not going to leave your body. They're actually coming back to the fat cells. So you don't want to be retoxified because you're dehydrated. So this is so very, very important to drink water and drink more while you are going through a detox, because this is a time where you want to really rebuild your body and start anew. How much water, you may say? Well, this depends on your lifestyle. This depends whether you are an athlete or whether you're drinking coffee or also alcohol. Hopefully you're not drinking alcohol during this detox program. But
Grace, I wanted to say real quickly for the viewing audience that especially if you are on for the first time today, over the last couple of weeks, we've presented you with the challenge, if you will, or the at least the question about detoxification. And so when Grace said, you know, you whatever program you're following, what Grace and I are able to do for you is customize a detox program. And we presented that last week. So for those of you who maybe haven't contacted us or aren't on a particular program at this point, that was what she was insinuating. So once you've started on a detoxification program, whatever that program might look like, you're basically moving toxins out of different tissues in the body. And to Grace's point, unless you're really hydrating, you're going to have a hard time moving, actually eliminating those toxins. So for those of you who maybe weren't clear on that, this is week one of talking about, now that you're doing a detoxification, let's talk about water. So for those of you who aren't, please reach out to us and we'll help you get on a program that works best for you. So carry on, Grace. How much water do we actually need?
So again, during the times of detoxifying, whether it's for 1 week or for 14 days, for 28 days, What you want to do is just drink actually more water that you usually drink to help the toxins out. And I would suggest to strive towards drinking 120 ounces. And I know you may say, whoa, that's so much water, because that's close to a gallon of water. And many people continue walking around and they're dehydrated. They barely drink, 2 to 3 glasses of water. I would say if you are today drinking just 2 to 3 glasses of water, then I would say go ahead and increase it to twice as much. And then at some point, you'll feel, if you take it away, you'll feel that the center of thirst has been awakened and you will want to drink more. For others who are already drinking the standard 8 glasses of 8 ounces each glass of pure, clear water, that's about 64 ounces, then try to increase it to 80, 90 ounces. And let's say you drink a cup of coffee. Each time you drink 1 cup of coffee, try to drink 2 cups of water to neutralize the acidity coming from coffee. Coffee has many other benefits, but also it's very acidic. If you drink tea again, those many people come in and say, well, I drink 2 to 3 to 5 cups of coffee or tea. Does that not count for water? It does not. Unfortunately, it doesn't. So on top of all the other fluids, you need to drink pure, clean water. And I'm striving to today, and both of us are striving towards drinking 120 ounces. That is a big gallon of water. It's a challenge. Sometimes what I do, I just bring a big gallon there. I put water in for the day, and then I just go through the day and try to drink this water every hour, a glass or so. So again, a center of thirst will be awakened. I promise you that. If you force yourself to drink more water and then you decide, okay, I'm going to take it away, stop drinking it for a few hours, you will see that you actually want and crave water. Mm-hmm. Many times you think that you're hungry, but you're actually mistaken. You actually are not hydrated. You're thirsty. So
yeah, I think that's a good point, Grace. I wanted to stop you there. For those out there that are really focused on weight loss, right? Because another thing that Dr. Grace does in her longevity program is can help people focus on weight loss. But again, hydration is a big part of that, not only to move the fat and detoxify the body, but also because a big percentage of the time when we feel like we're hungry, we're actually thirsty. So it's probably not a bad idea when you feel like you want to go get a snack out of the pantry that you first force yourself to drink a glass of water. And you'll quickly recognize oftentimes that you really weren't hungry, you were actually really more thirsty. I think that's a really important point for sure.
Yeah. So now we talked about how important this basic but profound element is water. Now let's talk about what kind of water to drink, right? We have tap water. So it's easy to go to your sink and turn it on. Well, I hope no one drinks tap water. I'm sorry to say it is very, very unsafe. It's full of toxins. And if you live in Orange County, each city in Orange County has water that's reclaimed from the sewer. 20% of the water in each city, where you in La Habra, Costa Mesa, Newport, Dana Point down south, each city has about 20% of the water reclaimed from the sewer. What does that mean? Yes, this water does not come directly from the sewer. It's reclaimed, meaning that it goes to big reverse osmosis machine. And therefore, it's devoid of all of the minerals. Some of the impurities are gone, but also all of the good minerals are gone. And many of the toxins are still there. If you were to actually do a couple of experiments on tap water, that you could really see very clearly that still has chlorine, chloramine, not to mention fluoride. Many of us are already aware of how toxic those elements are. So tap water is out. What are we left with? Majority of us are going to bottled water. And here's another problem. And I know I'm a messenger of all those things, but it's true. Water that's bottled, it goes to reverse osmosis again. That's very acidic. So now you have a pH of bottled water that's around 4 or 5. And let me tell you why it's not good. Anytime you consume bottled water that does not have minerals back in it, then you actually are taxing your body and your brain because it has to neutralize the acidity. So what does that mean? You drink, let's say 64 ounces every day of bottled water that you get at Whole Foods or Matters. You're very, very proud of it, but you actually are asking your body and the tissues to neutralize the acidity. What's going to happen? Majority of us, the pH of our blood will always stay about 7.34, so we don't have to worry about that. But the tissues, the muscles, the bones will sacrifice the minerals that are so necessary for their health to neutralize the acidity. And then it's just a constant going back and forth. You get a cup of coffee, you have a glass of water, you go through traffic. All of these things create a lower pH, and we're continuously having to release minerals from our tissues. That in turn just comes as all chronic diseases would come. Osteoporosis, the internal organ problems, heart disease, lung issues. We have autoimmune disease, we have muscle weakness, or we have stiffness, we lose our sight. Our eyes need hydration, but not from acidity. They need hydration from water that is alkalized and ionized and hydrogen rich.
Okay. So Grace, I think a natural question that would come up then for people at this point is, so I want to clarify first. So what you're saying is that tap water and bottled water typically goes through purification through reverse osmosis, which takes out, it takes out some of the impurities and toxins, but certainly not everything. But it also takes out these really important mineral components that manage the pH level. That's the balance, for those of you who aren't aware, between the alkaline and the acidity, right? And so what we're looking for really is balance. We don't want to be too acidic and we don't want to be overly alkaline. And these minerals help to balance that. And what happens in bottled water and in tap water is that it is largely acidic. And so it creates this pH imbalance, in addition to the fact that you're maybe getting some other things that you don't want, like, chemicals and toxins and things like that. So, so then what, if bottled water is not a great idea and tap water is definitely not a great idea, what would be how could I get, aside from coming, obviously I could come to Dana Point and I could buy water from your store. But let's say that, one of our viewers is in another state or very far away from Dana Point. What's my option as far as how do I get these, clean water that doesn't have all of these things in it that I don't want, but clean water that has the good minerals in it that I do want, so that I'm not asking my body to give up minerals from my tissues to make up for what the water doesn't have that I'm drinking.
That's exactly, these are just excellent points that we're validating. So obviously, many people who are listening are not close to Dana Point. If you are, welcome, come in, we'll show you around. It's really, truly a beautiful store that has not just the water, but many other items for your health and wellness. We can talk about systems that Mark Soltinsky has built. One is called Alka 4. It's an under-the-counter system. Majority of the homes and apartments would be able to have it. There is enough space. We ship those systems all over the country to Europe and Canada. So if there is any viewer, any customer of ours who would like to get more information, please, Pam will provide. You can call the store at 949-485-8652. You can connect with Pam or myself. we can get you extra information. There are websites to go to. ecowaterhouse.com is one, ecowaterhousestore.com is another one. So there's plenty of information about those systems. But and just in addition, when you think about, well, I can get a reverse osmosis system from Home Depot or from Costco or from online, and I would want to warn you against drinking water that goes just through this reverse osmosis, because it, as we talked, is devoid of minerals. And in Europe, for example, they don't even allow drinking water that just goes through reverse osmosis. The water has to be treated with minerals, because that's what your natural stream would have. But let's say you don't have the funds to buy, reverse osmosis, an alkalizing, ionizing system. There are ways to drink pure, clean water that has a higher pH. And for many of the viewers who are on a budget, who are students, who are young parents, they're starting, they're not sure yet, I would say, get your pure water, get your reverse osmosis system if you can get that, or buy the water from the stores and then treat it. Get some mineral drops. You can get them anywhere. You can get them from Others or Whole Foods, and put a couple of drops into each glass of water. This way you are assuring that the pH of water is above 8, and that's what you would want to start with. So there's always ways. There's also fantastic basic element that we all should have for our health and in our kitchen, which is the baking soda, sodium bicarbonate. This is an element that has so many health benefits. So many health benefits. You probably have it in your garage. You probably have it to really neutralize the odor, but you can drink it, and you can be assured that it will bring so many health benefits.
And Grace, on baking soda, because it's also important, remember guys, when we're talking about pH, acid, alkaline, we're talking about a balance. Now, as Grace said earlier, in your bloodstream, there's no leeway, right? Your body does everything it can to keep the pH balance in your bloodstream an absolutely perfect, steady level. But that, that's oftentimes at the sacrifice of the pH in all of the other tissues that are constantly, lending the minerals and such to keep that balance corrected. So we always want balance. So when it comes to baking soda, Grace, what's the dose? I mean, you have to be careful not to overdo it. So what would be the amount that you would recommend if somebody was going to use something like baking soda on a daily basis as something to help their health? How would you use it, and how much would you use?
Yeah, and first of all, it's really hard to overdose on baking soda because it would make you nauseated, and you would not like it. So I suggest, so let's say we'll start with, you have some issues, like, maybe GERD, you have burning, right, when you eat. So you would start with 1/8 of a teaspoon, 1/8 of a teaspoon. So get a teaspoon and kind of look at it, and just put just a little bit of it into a glass of cool water and drink it immediately. So you would in 10-15 minutes feel so much better. Let's say you have other issues, you may feel stiff, right? Or you have, headaches, or you have some other ailments. Also start with 1/8. You can build yourself to drinking, and that is 1 to 2 times per day. You can build yourself to drinking maybe 1/4 every other day, and that would be good too. Then there are people who have some chronic illnesses. If you are battling cancer and want to start such therapy, I would connect with Pam or myself for detailed, individualized therapy. Now, let's say you do not have any issues and you just want this water to be a little bit more alkaline. And what I mean by that, so let's say you have a glass of bottled water. The pH will be between 4 and 5. That's fine. And then you would just get 1/8 of a teaspoon into 8 to 12 ounces of water. you are now drinking water which pH will be around 8. And let's talk about pH because it goes from 1 to 14. When you think about perfect balance there is, as we talk, your blood is always at 7.34, and your body will make sure that it always stays so stable. Let's say you are thinking, what is the pH of green leafy vegetables if you are to juice and we're detoxifying? We want to eat as many organic green leafy veggies with a perfect way to actually start and end your day with a glass of 4 to 8 ounces of pure green vegetable juice, not fruit juice. The pH of green veggie juice would be, believe it or not, between 9 and 10. Can you imagine? Then you are not drinking your baking soda. You don't need to. You're not drinking extra minerals. You are drinking such fantastic food with so many elements that you are naturally neutralizing all the acidity with every glass of green leafy juice.
Okay, so this segues into the conversations that we'll have in the coming weeks for all of you out there that are following along with Grace and I for this series on detoxification. We're going to be coming to you regularly throughout the next several weeks with information like this. So we hope that you found this information useful. Water is definitely the first place to start with detoxification. As Grace indicated, I have noted in the chat area for the playback on this video of the Eco Waterhouse websites, their phone number. Of course, you can always contact me or Grace directly through the Healing Sanctuary, and we can help you get the information. And I would ask that all of you out there that are interested in detox, that are not actually doing some kind of an organized detoxification plan, to reach out and let Grace or I help you put together something that will work specifically for you. But know that the very first thing that you can do to help yourself is to not only increase your water intake, but make sure that it's healthy, pH balanced water. And really, if you have the ability, really think about doing some kind of water filtration system in your home. So thank you so much, Dr. Grace, for being with us today. It was fantastic. I always love having any opportunity to be able to work with you. For those of you who don't know, the Healing Sanctuary's physical office is now closed. Dr. Grace has moved her practice to Dana Point as part of the Eco Waterhouse, and now her company is Blue Zone Longevity. And she has a great focus on helping us all stay alive, not only longer, but healthier. So love you, Dr. Grace, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Love you too, and happy detoxifying, happy purification, and do stay connected, and cheers. More